Hello everyone and welcome to the course Foundation Engineering. Myself Priti Singh Patel, Civil Department from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Today I discuss remaining portion of pile foundation. In last lecture I will discuss about what is pile and different types of pile according to the load transfer, according to the material. Okay. In today's lecture I will discuss about pile driving equipment and how to calculate the bearing capacity of the pile foundation using different formula. So these are the list of content. Okay, so in today's lecture, I will discuss pile driving equipment, load carrying characteristics for cohesive and granular soil, piles subjected to a vertical load, pile load carrying capacity based on static and dynamic formula, then pile load test and penetration test data, and then group action of piles. So let's start. So what is pile driving equipment? So the operation of inserting pile into the ground is known as pile driving, and the piles are driven into the ground by means of some equipment or by means of hammer, and the equipment used for lifting hammer and allowed to fall on head of pile is known as pile driver. Okay, means the operation of inserting or driving the pile into the ground is known as pile driving, and the equipment used for driven the pile into a ground is known as pile driver. Okay, so various methods for pile driving are hammer driving, vibrator pile driver, water jetting and hammering, and partial augering method. So let's start. Hammer driving. So equipment required for hammer driving is pile frame or pile driving rig, pile hammer, lathes, winches and miscellaneous equipment. So these are the equipment required for hammer driving. Okay. So first pile frame or pile driving rig. So pile driver with a crawler mounted crane rig commonly used for pile driving, and the hammer is guided between two parallel steel channel. So leads are also called as leader, and it is used for guiding the hammer and for pile alignment. It should be fixed or movable. Movable leads are more convenient as they can adjust it as required, and the fixed lid is used only for a light load or for drop hammer. Okay. Next, winches. So winches are used for lifting hammer and pile, and it should be light with single drum provision or heavy with a double drum. Winches are driven with diesel or petrol engines or electrical power in case of drop hammer and pneumatic hammer. So here is the image of winches. Next, pile hammer. So the following methods are commonly used is drop hammer, single acting hammer, double acting hammer, diesel hammer and vibratory hammer. So first drop hammer. So the drop hammer is the oldest type of hammer used for the pile driving, and it is rarely used these days because of very slow rate of hammers blows. Okay, in a drop hammer it is raised by a winch and allowed to drop to the top of the pile under gravity from a certain height, and during the driving operation a cap is fixed at the top of the pile, and cushion is generally provided between the pile and the cap, and another cushion known as a hammer cushion is placed on the pile cap on which the hammer causes the impact. Okay, next, single acting hammer. So in single acting hammer, the ram or the hammer is raised by a air or a stream pressure to the certain height or to the required height, and then allowed to the drop under gravity on the pile cap provided with a hammer cushion, and the weight of the hammer for a single acting is about 100 kg. In double acting hammer, ram is raised by a steam or air pressure, and when the hammer has been raised to the required height, air or steam pressure is applied to the other side of the piston and the hammer is pushed downward under pressure. So this increases the impact energy of the hammer, and the weight of the double acting hammer is 1000 kg to 2500 kg, and it can be applied 90 to 240 blows per minute. Okay, means in double acting hammer the hammer is raised by the steam pressure and drop is by the steam and air pressure. Okay, next, diesel hammer. So a diesel hammer consists of a ram and a fuel injecting system, and it is also provided with an anvil block and its lower end. Then first the ram is just raised manually and the fuel is injected near the anvil. As soon as the hammer is released, it drops as on the anvil and compress the air fuel mixture and ignition take place, and the pressure so developed pushes the pile downward and raises the ram, and the fuel is again injected and the process is repeated. Okay, and the ram lifted automatically. It has to be manually raised only once at the beginning. Okay, normally the diesel hammer are not suitable for driving pile in soft soil, because in such soil the downward movement of the pile is excessive and the upward movement of the ram after impact is small. Okay, and the advantage of diesel hammer or power hammer is type of driving is that the blows of fall in rapid succession, means 50 to 150 blows per minute, keeping the pile in a continuation motion. Next, vibratory hammer. So in a vibratory pile driver consists of two weights called exciter, which rotate in opposite direction, and the horizontal component of the centrifugal force generated by the exciter cancel each other, but the vertical component add. A vibrator pile driver is useful only for sandy and gravel soil, and the speed of penetration is good. So the vibratory method is used where vibration and noise of conventional driving method cannot be permitted. Okay. Next, jetting piles and jetting techniques. When the pile is to penetrate a thin strata or thin hard layer of sand or gravel overlying a soft soil layer, the pile can be driven through the hard layer by jetting techniques, and the water is applied under pressure at the pile bottom by means of pipe to wash and loosen the hard layer. In jetting piles, an adequate quantity of water is essential for jetting. Okay. So next topic, load carrying capacity of pile. The ultimate load carrying capacity or ultimate bearing capacity or ultimate bearing resistance of pile is the maximum load which it can carry without failure or excessive settlement of the ground. Okay, so the amount of load on the pile can carry without undergoing continuous displacement for insufficient load increment by virtue of its boundary condition or not by virtue of its structural strength is known as load carrying capacity of pile. Okay, so the load carrying capacity for a single pile can be estimated by using different formula, which is static formula, dynamic formula, correlation with penetration test data, and last is, so first formula is static formula. In static formula, ultimate bearing capacity of pile is considered to the sum of end bearing pile and resistance due to a skin friction. So which is denoted by QU is equal to QP plus QS, and for determining QP and QS it is necessary to determine QP and AP and FS and AS, where QP is the small QP is the unit end bearing resistance of the pile, which is equal to the ultimate bearing capacity. AP is the area of the pile and area at the base. QS is the skin friction resistance. FS is unit skin friction, and AS is the surface area of pile in contact with the. So first, static formula for driven piles in sands means this equation is applicable for sandy soil or for cohesionless soil. Okay. So determination of point resistance, which is denoted by a QP by Meyerhof. So the ultimate bearing capacity, which is small QP, this of the soil at the pile tip can be computed from the bearing capacity equation similar to that for a shallow foundation, which is I discussed in previous last video. Okay, so the shallow bearing capacity of the shallow foundation equation is this for strip footing, where Qu is equal to CNC df gamma NQ 1 by 2 B gamma N gamma, where C is the cohesion, NC NQ N gamma is the Terzaghi bearing capacity factors, DF is the depth of the foundation, B is the width of the foundation, gamma is the unit weight of the soil. So in case of sandy soil or cohesionless soils, this C becomes 0. So the remaining equation is gamma df nq 1 by 2 b gamma n gamma, because in case of sandy soil means for cohesionless soil C becomes 0. So this equation is this term is become 0. So the remaining equation left df nq gamma 1 by 2 b gamma n gamma. Okay, where df and gamma is replaced by small q. So the remaining equation is q nq plus 0.5. फिर in case of driven pile, the second term of equation is generally small and hence and is therefore neglected. Means in case of driven pile, the second term becomes very small compared to this term. So this term is neglected. Obviously, the depth of the foundation for a pile is more compared to its width. So this term becomes small. So similar for square footing and for circular foundation, neglecting this term, the remaining term is QU or QP is equal to gamma DF NQ, and for circular footing is same. Okay, where Q is effective vertical pressure at the pile tip, gamma is the unit weight of the soil, DF is the depth of the foundation. Okay, NQ and gamma or NC is the bearing capacity factor for deep foundation, and B is the pile width, or in case of circular footing, B is the diameter of the pile. Okay. Then it has only, in case of driven pile, it has been established that the effective vertical pressure, which is Q, at the pile tip increase with the depth only until a certain depth, which is known as critical depth, and below that depth, which is critical depth, the surcharge pressure or effective vertical pressure, which is Q, remains constant. Okay. So it was already established that the vertical pressure or the surcharge pressure increase with the depth, but a certain depth. That certain depth is a critical depth, and after that depth, the surcharge pressure remains constant. If I draw the pressure diagram should be like that. Okay. Surcharge pressure or effective vertical pressure increase with the depth up to a certain depth. After that depth, the surcharge pressure remains constant. Okay, so the pressure diagram should be like that. Okay, that depth is critical depth. Okay, so up to a certain depth, the surcharge pressure increase. After that depth, that surcharge pressure or effective vertical pressure remains constant. Okay, so the pressure diagram should be like that. Okay, in this graph, the graph is according to the depth and the surcharge pressure or the effective vertical pressure. Okay, and this is your critical depth, which is noted by a DC. So if depth of the foundation is more than the critical depth, the equation should be like that. QP is equal to gamma DC NQ. If the critical depth is the more than depth of the foundation, the equation should be like that. Gamma DF NQ. Okay. For example, if the depth of the foundation is 6 and the critical depth is 3, so the depth 3, if the depth of the foundation is more than the critical depth, so in equation we take critical depth. In second condition, if the critical depth is more than the depth of the foundation, for example, if the critical depth is 10 meter and the depth of the foundation is 5, so we take depth of the foundation. Okay, so where def is the length of the pile or depth of the pile, dc is the critical depth. Okay, so the critical depth of a pile depends upon the angle of shear resistance, which is phi, of the soil and the width of the file, and its value can be roughly taken as 10b for a loose sand and 20b for a dense sand. Okay, this is for a critical depth. For loose sand 10b and for dense sand 20b, because the critical depth depends upon the angle of shear resistance and the width of the pile. Okay, next, skin resistance or method of determination of QS. So the frictional resistance, which is QS, is obtained after estimating the unit skin friction, which is Fs, and the surface area of the pile. Okay, so the unit skin friction for a straight sided pile depend upon the soil pressure acting normal to the pile surface and the coefficient of friction between the soil and the pile perimeter. Okay, and the equation for the unit skin friction is K sigma V 10 delta, where K is the coefficient of earth pressure, sigma V is the effective vertical pressure at the depth under consideration, and the omega is the coefficient of friction between the soil and the pile material. So this is the final equation for a pile driven in sand soil by static formula. Q is equal to Q N Q AP K sigma V 10 omega AS, where Q is the end bearing resistance, NQ is the Terzaghi bearing capacity factor, AP is the area of the pile, sigma V is the effective vertical pressure, omega 10 omega is the coefficient of friction between the soil and pile material, and AS is the surface area. So selection of values of omega and K is depend upon the pile material. Okay, so according to pile material, for steel, concrete and timber, the omega value is 20 degree 0.755, and the K is depend upon the type of sand, loose sand and dense sand. So the value for omega and K you can take from this table. Okay. Then next, static analysis for pile driven in clay. Previous equation is only applicable for cohesionless soil or for sandy soil, and this equation is applicable for cohesive soil, means for clay soil. Okay, the equation is QU CNCAP alpha C dash A S dash, where C is the cohesion, NS is the Terzaghi bearing capacity factor, AP is the area of the pile, alpha is the adhesion factor, and AS is the surface area of the pile. Okay. Next formula, dynamic formula. So the dynamic pile formula are also used to estimating the pile capacity, and the load carrying capacity of a driven pile can be estimated from the resistance against penetration developed during pile driving operation. This method gives fairly good result only in the case of free drainaging sand and hard clays, in which pore water pressure does not develop during the driving of pile. In case of saturated or fine granite soil, high pore water pressure develops during the driving operation. and the strength of pile is considerably changed, and the method does not give reliable method. Okay, so the dynamic formula are based on that assumption that the kinetic energy delivered by the hammer during the driving operation is equal to the work done in penetrating the soil. So the various dynamic formula are these, the engineering new record. So let's start the engineering new record formula. So according as per the engineering new formula or ENR formula, the allowable load of driven pile is given by this equation, which is QA WHFS plus C, where Q is the allowable load in kg, where W is the weight of hammer, sorry, H is height of fall in mm, S is the final settlement per blow known as set, and C is the empirical constant, and which is depend upon the type of hammers. For drop hammer, the empirical constant is 25 hammer. For single and double acting hammer, the empirical constant is 2.5 mm, and F is the factor of safety. Of our engineering new formula, the factor of safety usually taken as 6. If the putting these value in the formula, equation becomes like this. Okay, for drop hammer the factor of safety is 6, and for drop hammer the C value, and which is empirical constant, 25 mm. For single acting steam hammer is 2.5 mm, and for double acting steam hammer the equation will be modified, and the equation is W plus APH 6S plus 2.5, where A is the effective area of piston and P is the mean effective steam pressure. Next, Danish formula. So the for Danish formula, the equation is QU WH eta H S plus S naught by 2, where Q is U is the ultimate bearing capacity of pile, and S naught is the elastic compression of pile, which is finding out by this equation, where L is the length of pile, A is the cross section of area of cross section of pile, and E is modulus of elasticity of pile, and the ultimate load or allowable load is finding out by ultimate load divided by the factor of safety. Okay. Next, Hiley's formula. So Hiley's formula, Hiley's gave the following equation. So equation is QU is equal to WH eta B S plus C by 2, where WH, eta H and S are the same as before, and eta B is the efficiency of hammer blows. Eta H is calculated by this equation, but if W yani weight of hammer is more than by this E and P, where P is the pile weight and E is the coefficient of the situation, whose value is 0.4 for concrete and 0.5 for steel pile. Okay, so if W is more than EP, the equation for the eta H is this, and if W is less than EP, the equation for eta B for this. Okay, and the quantity of C in Hiley's formula is total elastic compression given by this. C is equal to C1 plus C2 and C3, and where C1, C2 and C3 are the compression of pile cap, pile shaft and soil respectively. Okay, so dynamic formula are generally found to be a less reliable than a static formula. Okay. Next, pile penetration data. So the result of static cone penetration test and standard penetration test are used to determine the load bearing capacity of pile. So the static cone penetration test, the point resistance of driven pile in sand, including H piles, can also be determined using N value as per the below equation, which is QP 14N L by D, where L is the depth of the pile and D is the width of the pile, where N is the standard penetration resistance as observed in the field for bearing stratum without the over. Data from a static cone penetration test can be used to estimate the unit skin friction by this equation F is equal to A QC, where QC is the static cone resistance and A is the coefficient whose value depend upon the soil type. For clay soil, the value of A is 0.04 to 0.08, and for silty sand, the value of A is 0.01 to 0.04, and for sand, the value of A is 0.01 to 0.02 for a sand. Okay, and the maximum unit skin friction for steel H pile is taken as 0.5, and for driven concrete pile is taken as 0.1 kg per centimeter cube. For board pile, the equation is Q 4N L by D and 1.4 N L by D. Okay. Next method, pile load test. So the setup consists of two anchor pile. The setup consists of two anchor pile provided with an anchor girder or a reaction girder at their top, and the test pile is installed between the anchor pile in the manner in which the foundation pile are to be installed, and the spacing between the test pile and the anchor pile should be at least 3 times of the width and the 2.5 meter clear distance from the anchor pile. Means the distance between the test pile and for the, between the anchor pile should be 3 times of the width of the pile or 2.5 meter from the anchor pile, and then the load is applied through a hydraulic jack resting on the reaction girder, and the measurement of a pile movement are taken with a reference respect to a fixed reference mark. Okay, and the test is conducted after a rest periods of a 3 days after the installation of this setup in sandy soil and a period of 1 month in silt and soft clays. Okay, means in sandy soil the test is performed after the installation of this setup of 3 days, or in case of soft clays or silt soil, the test is performed after the 1 month of the installation of this setup. Okay, then the load is applied in an equal increment of about 20% of allowable load, and settlement should be recorded with 3 different dial gauges, and each stage of the loading is maintained till the rate of the movement of the pile top is not more than 0.1 mm per hour in sandy soil and 0.02 mm per hour in case of clay soil for maximum of 2 hours. Okay, after each increment, each load increment, settlement are observed after a 0.5 minute interval, 1 minute, 2 minute, 4 minute, 12, 16, 20 and 16 minutes, and the loading should be continued up to twice the safe load or the load at which the total settlement reached to a specific value, and then the load is removed in the same decrement at a 1 hour interval, and the final rebound is recorded after 24 hours after the entire load. So here is the procedure how to apply the load and when the test is conducted, or when, and how to record the settlement, which I already discussed in previous slides. Okay. Next, typical load settlement, as I told you earlier, the load is removed in the same manner or same decrement at a 1 hour interval, and the final rebound is recorded after the 24 hours entire the load has been removed. So the load settlement graph, the load is increased, the settlement increase, and after the removing the load, the soil rebound. Okay, so the load settlement, this is your gross settlement. As the load increase, the settlement increase, and then removing the loads in the same manner after 24 hours, the soil rebound, and this graph after the removing after the subtracting the rebound from the gross settlement, we get net settlement of the for a pile. Okay. So the limiting criteria, the net settlement should not be more than the 20 mm and the gross settlement should not be more than 25 mm. Okay. So today I stop here and the remaining portion I will discuss in next video lecture. Okay. Thank you.